Creating Distilled Water Through Solar Energy by Sabeeka Tahir. Here are my table of contents, and this is the problem. So water is a source of life, and we rely on it daily. So when power such as natural gases or fueled electricity fail us, our survival is based on pure water. Although we have a sufficient amount of gas and electricity, we use large masses for our daily lives. So when these energy sources just mentioned above run out and we need distilled water, we will have nothing. Therefore, the question arises, how will we get distilled water in the absence of fuel in case of the inability of any fuel, i.e. electricity, coal, and others? Let's move on to the hypothesis. What can we expect to happen? We can expect there to be no resources left and the global warming and the world situation have worsened. However, in parts of the world where global warming results in further heat, we can use this as a favorable aspect, especially in the challenging days of global warming. The independent variable is the sun's heat or solar energy, and the dependent variable is the distilled water. Furthermore, one way to appeal to this circumstance is to prepare distilled water through solar energy. To sum up, if we cannot get distilled water because natural gases or fueled electricity have failed us, then we can create distilled water using solar energy due to evaporation and condensation. So here are the materials required: an ice cream container, hot glue gun or tape, black paint which is optional, pop can, scissors or knife, clear plastic bottle, contaminated water, the sun, a glass or container to collect the water, a small object to tilt the distilled water into the glass. Steps and procedures. So to create you can create a water reservoir using an ice cream container by cutting the top of the box, and which can be done through scissors and a knife. The top of the box is used as a channel to collect the distilled water. Next, create a water collector using a knife or scissors to cut a pop bottle, the shape of a curved triangle. First, however, ensure that the curved triangle has a flat side at the bottom of a triangle. Then this flat side is hot glued to the short side of the ice cream container. Attach the water reservoir upside down, making it seem like it can hold water like a passage using a hot glue gun. 4. Since black absorbs more heat than lighter colors due to absorbing light energy, paint this project black optionally, ensuring that this project attracts heat. Number 5, create a dome on the water reservoir using a round plastic bottle, for example a juice bottle, by making adjustments. Ensure that this project doesn't cover all of the area and leave some space to add the contaminated water in the container. The evaporated water condensates in droplets, sticks to the top of the dome, and drips into the water reservoir. Attach the dome to the reservoir, ensuring that there is still some space so that the water can drip into it. And here are my parts labeled of the project and how it turned out, and here's how to use this project. Number 1, add contaminated water into the container. Leave the project with the contaminated water in the heat. Every few hours, check on the contaminated water to see if it's evaporated. When evaporated and condensed, use a water collector to guide the water flow into a container. As a result, by using solar energy, one can create distilled water. So here's creating distilled water through solar energy. Here's just a look out at different angles and how my project turned out again. And this is in the process of evaporation. I'll further explain all of this inside the conclusion. Here's a video of water collection. And here's my conclusion. So the scientific process involves how the sun's heat will cause the contaminated water to evaporate. We wait for the contaminated water to condensate and accumulate in the form of tiny water droplets. The water droplets at the top of the bottle will drip down and collect through the water reservoir. These water droplets are distilled water created by evaporation and condensation using solar energy. Here's some afternotes. So this process leaves behind any contamination, hence providing us with pure water. The water can be used as contaminated water from ravines, rivers, or lakes, or even salt water from oceans. And this water can be used as the contaminated water. And the pure distilled water collected by this process can be used as drinking water and used in daily life activities. So this process effectively collects distilled water for chemical or medical processes and underdeveloped countries. So another afternote, that we can apply this procedure in more significant qualities with higher magnitude and better material use, or better materials for industrial use. Therefore, we can get distilled water in the absence of fuel in case of the inability of any fuels is through solar energy. Here are my references, and thank you for listening to my presentation.